Live. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever the hell you are in the world, and welcome to Sidetrack, your sci-fi TV movie channel. And you can do your bit.
Hello, I'm Michael Ball. I'm on today live, which is actually throwing me. Obviously, I'm on CoCloud on YouTube, and today we're actually joining forces to do a special live stream talking about those wonderful Star Trek movies, or not so wonderful Star Trek movies. We'll have to decide, won't we?
I think it's fair to say there's a little bit of a mixed bag when it comes to Star Trek movies.
I do agree entirely.
But
very, very big scale.
I'm just going to throw out a ball straight away, because we haven't prepared this particularly. We know just what we're going to do. Have I spelled CoCloud right, by the way?
You have.
What does CoCloud mean?
The day I created my channel back in 2007, I was just trying to think of a name, and the most random word came into my head: CoCloud. People have asked, is it from Wales? Is it from wherever? It is a completely random word. It doesn't mean anything. It means my channel, whatever that means.
Right, that's fine. Right, so obviously you can go and find us if you're joining us through Sidetrack. You can go find CoCloud at CoCloud. If you're joining us through CoCloud, you can find us on Sidetrack. So
absolutely.
So first of all, big question: what is the one Star Trek movie? I've checked when I say Sidetrack movie. Star Trek movie you wouldn't watch if you had a choice. We're going to have to watch all of them over the next couple of weeks because we're then going to review each of them. I should say that. Start again.
Okay.
Right, so over the next couple of months, we're going to watch all the Star Trek movies and we're going to rate them. And we want to get you guys to help us figure out how we're going to rate them. We're going to do a scoring system. I've already thought of the Kirk for how many girls get slept with. No, sorry, action. I think we'll do action.
Okay, action might be better.
But or how many girls get slept with. But I haven't watched any of the movies in years and years. So we just wanted to do a little bit of a what do we remember? What are the highs and lows that we remember?
Bad things. Yeah, that's it. Pretty much.
Which is the one movie that you're not looking forward to watching, or the one you're least looking forward to?
Okay, if I could choose, it would probably have to be Star Trek V, The Final Frontier.
The Search for God?
Yes, basically. Yes. Shakari and all this sort of stuff. It was called, wasn't it? Vaudeville, yeah.
I'm going to throw a curveball. I don't hate that movie. I actually quite like bits of it.
I don't. I like everything in every sort of single Star Trek movie. I like something about it, but okay.
For me, it's the motion picture. Straight out the bat, I find it incredibly boring. And the bit where Spock goes, "My mind to your mind," with a fecking cloud, just does my head in.
Is that the bit when he sort of touches the eye Leo and sort of goes, "Oh," like that kind of bit?
Mind melt with the cloud. I thought I quite liked the V'ger thing, even though it was kind of stupid. But all of the early Star Trek movies got something stupid in them that work somehow. Voyage Home, stupid movie from beginning to end, but somehow it was just brilliant. But for me, I just find it's not that the motion picture is a bad film. It's not.
It's pacing.
It's boring.
I agree. My nan, I'm old enough. I actually went to see it at the cinema in 1979 in, I think it was the Kingston Cinema in London, where I'm originally from, or Southwest London, just out of it. And I went with my uncle, my mum, and my nan. And my nan fell asleep in there. She fell asleep. And yeah.
When Star Trek First Contact came out, I went to a Trekathon. They basically showed all the movies from beginning to end, right?
Okay. Yep.
So about 4 o'clock in the morning, we got to The Final Frontier, and I have to admit, I slept through most of it.
So, yeah, it's a bit of a tall order to go through all those movies, isn't it? I mean,
It's literally overnight. We had breakfast and then we watched First Contact.
First Contact.
So we got to see, and you know how the British are quite emotionally restrained. I think it's fair to say.
Of course.
When First Contact came out, though, we didn't have like nowadays with like leaks online and all this sort of thing. So nobody had actually seen the Enterprise.
You would actually get surprises.
Yeah. Well, we'd only seen the Enterprise from like on the poster. There was and you could see, but you couldn't really tell what it, anything.
Sovereign class, yeah, exactly.
So when the Sovereign class came out of the nebula and they did that beautiful shot, everybody in the place went,
Really? They actually gasped. Really? Yeah.
And I think, I'm going to go, whoa. We're British. All right. Oh, this Ralph Ryder. I've been arguing with you all day. Let's have a little bit of a Stargate moment.
Okay, go for it.
Ralph believes, and he's accused me repeatedly of ignoring him, and I haven't ignored him. I just don't care enough to think out. But anyway, Ralph believes that after Stargate Continuum, all of the Goa'uld are dead, that they're extinct. And I have been arguing that no, they're bloody not.
The system lords are gone, but there are still lesser gold out there.
Yes.
Sorry, that's the way I say it. Sorry. Yeah.
So, Ralph, I'm sorry, mate, but you're wrong. Stop going on about it. Apparently, in one line, he says, "Oh, to Teal'c, you're the Goa'uld are gone now. You're free." And he's took that to mean literally that they're all gone. And I think I watched Continuum the other day. They say System Lord repeatedly.
Yeah. That's what I just said. Yeah.
But more importantly, anyway, even if they did say gone, it just means like as a power. They are defeated. They are gone as a power in the universe, but they are not gone. I'm sorry, mate, but they are not defeated. They're defeated, not extinct. They still exist.
Can I make a parallel with Star Wars, with the contemporary Star Wars series, The Mandalorian, something where the Empire is defeated, but there are still remnants of the Empire out there. So it's a similar premise.
It's a similar thing.
They're still in the background. You know what I mean?
If I wander over to Parliament and murder all the MPs, the British government is gone, but the British people still exist.
Yes.
If we'd still be here, the government and the hierarchy of the Goa'uld is gone. The Goa'uld system lords are gone. They're defeated as a power in the universe. They're not dead, and it's Teal'c, not Tillac. I'm sorry.
So are you suggesting that all politicians are acting like they've got snakes in their heads or something like that?
It would explain a few things. But Ralph, I'm sorry, mate. I don't want to have a moan at you, but you're wrong. Please stop going on about it. Right, Star Trek. He's called me a hypocrite in all sorts of days. Actually, really starting to wind me up a little bit. You just won't admit it that you're wrong.
Maybe I'll stay out of it. This is obviously a situation. I'm from an outside, so I'm looking at it from an outside perspective.
A little bit of a situation. Because I just don't want the guy to. No. He's wrong, and he just needs to
get on. Yeah, you want to find an agreement. You know.
Star Trek.
Go
on. And we will discuss the new Star Treks in a minute. That's a very, very good point.
That's going to be.
Throw in the JJs. We do need to throw in these JJs. What is the film out of the classic Star Trek? We won't include the JJs. What is the one that you're looking forward to rewatching?
Now, the most likely answer would be Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. But I always had a soft spot for Star Trek III: The Search for Spock. I think it was a very, very great continuation from such a great previous movie. We see the destruction of the Enterprise for the first time ever in Star Trek. And you got Christopher Lloyd as a Klingon. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff in that movie.
He was fantastic as a Klingon.
He was really good.
The one thing I like about that as well, it was like that was the two films that were set up. After the motion picture did quite well, and then Star Wars did really, really well. So they set up for two. I actually think the Voyage Home was part of it.
I think it's connected to, it's like a trilogy. Yeah, I get that.
And that was glorious. But I mean, particularly the Wrath of Khan and then the Search for Spock are definitely like, that's a two-parter basically. And we don't see that in movies very often. So I love that. Normally, to answer this question, I say The Undiscovered Country, because The Undiscovered Country is my favorite.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm only old enough to have gone to watch The Undiscovered Country at the cinema.
That was 1991.
Well, I snuck out of school and I actually skived off school.
Did you?
I'm hoping my mom isn't watching this. And I sat in the cinema on an afternoon with one other bloke who sat way, way away from me in my school uniform and watched The Undiscovered Country. And I was absolutely blown away. The opening sequence.
The Excelsior, the practice. Yeah.
It just blew my mind. What was I in 1991? How old was I? I'd have been 13.
I would have been 19, 18, 19.
Yeah, 13. So fantastic.
Mm.
But I haven't watched The Voyage Home in years.
Going back to your experience of seeing the movie, I went to see Star Trek 4 as well in the cinema. And I remember very clearly that when the movie ended and the end credits were going, people were all clapping in the cinema. It went down that well. And I remember, and I think it's still one of the highest rated Star Trek movies at that time, just because it was more accessible to mainstream. It was more of a mainstream movie than, sort of. So, yeah, Star Trek 4 has got. I like the comedy. I like the fact that it's a time travel, and as you said, it was based on. It was like the trilogy of movies, and it could have been 4, but Star Trek: The Final Frontier kind of was like in the middle. It kind of, I don't know.
No, it's a movie on its own, isn't it? But I love it. I think because, well, you know how good it is because basically they've been remaking it ever since. You could argue that parts of Picard season 2 were just a remake of The Undiscovered Country, or at least they took the plot of Undiscovered Country and went, not Undiscovered Country, sorry, A Voyage Home, and just sort of went, we'll do a bit of time travel.
Yeah.
We'll do a bit of wandering around Los Angeles. We'll do, San Francisco.
Yes,
a little bit.
It was, yeah. Also, you had the guy on the bus who was in Star Trek: The Voyage Home.
Yeah,
he was in Picard as well. Yeah, which is a nice little time.
As an adult, something. So yeah, I think The Voyage Home is the one I'm looking forward to watching the most because I know I always loved it when I was a kid. That was the one I loved the most. Khan, obviously. I mean, The Wrath of Khan. It's not just a good Star Trek movie. It's just a good movie. Full stop. I mean, it
doesn't actually. It's not just a Star Trek movie. It's just well paced, well acted. It's just a very, again, it's another accessible movie. And it's like I said, Star Trek has always been a bit different from Star Wars, where a lot of people find it a bit harder to get into Star Trek. Star Wars, you can just watch it. You've got lightsabers, you've got space battles, and although it's got its own world, I think that's why Star Wars is so much bigger than Star Trek for the general audience. But Star Trek 2 was referenced by the popular sort of faster pace of Star Wars, which is why Star Trek 2, they learnt from the motion picture, going back to the slow pacing. You know what I mean? Yeah, Khan, that's it.
If you actually think about the storylines for these movies, though, right? Earth attacked by a big cloud that was actually Voyager. Earth, sorry, no, and then the Genesis thing was a bit of a stretch.
Planet Creator, Planet Destroyer.
The same one. Khan comes back. The whole thing about the planet, one planet exploded and kicked another planet over, and the Federation didn't realize. No, but that's Khan, brilliant. The search for Spock. We're basically going to put a brain back into another planet, and it's lucky that he was on the Genesis planet, so his body regenerated, and they found him just at the right age. For the Voyage Home, we're going to get attacked by somebody looking for whales. So we go back in time, and they're coming on the road, and think it's a stupid storyline. 5, The Undiscovered Country actually is just a political thing.
Oh no, that's it's God and
Undiscovered Country is a politically drama. And then you get into sort of Generations, which is the Nexus. Every storyline is ridiculous, but for some reason,
I still like them. I still like it all. I can't explain why it is, because it's weird with these sort of shows, because there are some really strange concepts in all these shows we watch, and to people outside, like, what the hell are they watching? But I just I love the Nexus in Star Trek 7, The Generations. I thought it was I thought it was a great link between the Next Generation and the end of the original movies. It really was a proper link.
I really enjoy Generations.
And Generations really was one of the real high-up movies for me. We'll
talk about the TNG movies in a sec, but let's answer William's question. Are we in agreement that the even-numbered Star Treks are better than the odd-numbered ones? And I'll put the comment away because it's cutting off the bottom of your face. But, right, so even numbered better. Right. So I've already said I don't like the motion picture. I find it boring. I'm not looking forward to watching it. Khan is brilliant.
Yeah.
Search for Spock is good.
I like that one.
Then 4, the Voyage Home is still one of my favorites. 5, bad. 6, great. 7, out of the newer films, 7 is weaker. it's not a bad film. I actually really enjoy Generations, but it is weaker. First Contact.
Yeah, well, that's a big
probably the best of the new. Insurrection is terrible.
I didn't like Insurrection.
Nemesis, I like bits.
I like Nemesis. I like Nemesis. I quite like Nemesis.
It's got a great space battle.
Yeah,
parts of it are not great.
Yeah,
but I agree. I think actually the odd even the curse of the odd even
has been that thing. It's been a curse, isn't it? It has been that. I think that for the majority of those case or examples, you're right. I think
I think Search for Spock is the only odd. There's the only one that stands out really because I think Search for Spock is a brilliant film. I think it's really good.
And like I said, I like Generations #7 as well. So there we go.
Well, the new Trek ones then, because I mean, Generations is seen as one of the weaker movies, but I actually thought
I don't agree with that.
No, I actually thought Bill Shatner was great in it.
Yeah.
But I love William Shatner. I think he's brilliant. One of my favorite TV shows ever made is Boston Legal with William Shatner and James
TJ Hooker.
TJ Hooker. When I was a kid, I loved TJ.
I've got all the TJ Hookers.
No, my wife bought me the Fall Guy DVDs for Christmas.
Oh no, okay. I've not seen the Fall Guy actually. I've not seen that.
Oh no. And there's this blonde chick in it that I loved. She was my favorite person. But yeah, there was and Thingy was in TJ Hooker, wasn't she? I forgot
Heather Locklear, isn't it?
Heather Locklear. Oh my god.
Okay, Heather Locklear. Right, okay.
I was a teenage boy. I mean, come on. But yeah, but I think Generations, the ending sequence is fantastic. I thought the whole bit with Data was a bit weak. I was not a massive fan of the Data chip.
It was a bit of a sort of unnecessary addition to the movie. It wasn't really needed. I think it was great to see him with emotions, but I don't know whether that really was, as I say, essential to the story. I think that was a weaker part of it.
It didn't quite work.
No, it didn't.
Whether it was
I
just
agree about that.
I like the bit where he's scared when
Soren.
I want to say Sauron, but I'm like, no, that's Lord of the Rings. When Soren is and he gets frightened, so he doesn't help.
Yeah, and he has that weird gun that goes like that.
Yeah, that was cool. That was. I would have got it folded over.
Yeah.
I did like that bit. I like the idea of the destroying the star. I thought that was a really very powerful, very cool weapon, and it's the sort of thing the Romulans would love. So, the main thing I didn't like. I like the starting sequence when they're on
the Enterprise B was pretty cool.
The whole bit with Enterprise B. I mean, that's a launch of 1,000 memes. I'm sorry, the meme won't be ready until Tuesday. I mean, that was a brilliant sequence.
Oh yeah.
The bit I didn't like about it is it was the start of Dark Trek when they seemed to. I can only assume that at Paramount they hadn't paid their electric bill, which is actually probably quite likely because they're in a lot of financial stuck. And they just didn't turn the lights on. The whole film was very dark. Just not particularly well lit, and I mean, we're used to it now with like Discovery. Not so much.
Sorry, mate. You still there?
Yeah. I'm here. I lost you for a sec, did I?
Okay, should be back in a second.
Yeah, no, I've got you. We can hear you.
Dark Trek. Yeah. Not sure what you mean. I mean, when Jay comes back, I mean, obviously. Here we are, Jay. I think Jay's back. Here we go, mates. You all right?
I didn't go anywhere.
Oh, did you see me the whole time?
Yeah, you're whistling to yourself, yeah.
Yeah, you just disappeared.
Dark Trek.
All right, sorry. The last thing I heard was the beginning of Dark Trek. So continue from that point. Sorry.
So yeah, I mean, I just would like to say that Paramount hadn't been paying the electric bill. They turned all the lights off for some reason, and the whole movie is just very dark. We're used to that with Star Trek Discovery, Strange New Worlds, etc. Now, not so much Strange New Worlds, but where nobody seems to turn the lights on. Generations, I think, was the first one to do that, and it was a very different tone, a very different style to the rest of the film. And I have to admit, I didn't love it.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, I mean, you look at Voyager, you look at Next Generation, it was very bright sets in the original series as well. I think I assume they were trying to make it more atmospheric. I don't know why they went there. And of course, the recent Picard series was the darkest series ever. So I don't know. I don't know why they started to go that direction. But as you say, it did continue on from that point, which is a shame.
Yeah. It is sad because it didn't work. and that's the truth of it. But I think it must have been like a tonal thing. They wanted to separate it from the TV series. Maybe it was make it more cinematic. I loved the Gowron, not Gowron. I loved the Duras sisters. I thought they were great.
Oh, Lersa and Bertor, isn't it? Yeah.
And I thought they were great. I actually really did like the attack on the Enterprise. I thought that was great. I loved all the different bits of it. It just overall it wasn't as good for me.
Do you wish you'd seen more of because obviously it was only Kirk that went and we saw Picard. I mean, most people would like seeing a proper thing with both the ships meeting up somehow in some time thing, and that might have been good. But it was a bit separated from the.
Yeah, I know that would have been cheesy, but I mean the whole Nexus thing made no sense at all. But we'll ignore that as well. I just good film. I hated seeing the Enterprise destroyed, but that whole sequence was phenomenal. And yeah, it's not good, but we then went into First Contact.
Yeah, and also technically only half the Enterprise was destroyed, but yeah, I know what you mean. First Contact.
They rescued the Saucer section and she flew again. But yeah. First Contact for me is again that's like a Khan for me. That's not just a good film. It's not a good Star Trek film. That's a good film. I mean, anybody would go in and enjoy that movie. It was phenomenally good. What they did with the Borg, reinventing the Borg slightly. I read something about the designer saying that basically the Borg in the TV series stuff was attached to them, whereas for the movie we made stuff coming out of them.
Yeah, I can see that. I can go along with that.
Subtle difference to the way it was made, but it made them. Oh my god! It made them so much scarier. This was back when the Borg were actually good before they ruined them.
Yeah, I mean, I actually don't mind the redesign because in theory they're always evolving anyway, so they could start to look more different as they're assimilating more races, and then that's how they sort of change. I think the problem, as you say, is that Voyager really did the Borg to death, literally. And I think that it's kind of like too many stories with them. I think also what gave this series or this film its own highlights was it was the first proper Next Generation movie on its own. It wasn't tied with the original series. Alex Krieger was brilliant as well as the Borg.
It makes sense, I suppose.
What was that?
I was thinking about the Nexus. I suppose it does make sense. I mean, in the actual what it does, I'm thinking from a scientific point of view, I can't get my head around how the Nexus would be a thing, but that's just.
But it was supposed to be like another reality, wasn't it, or something?
Yeah, it was a subspace anomaly.
And you go into it and you exist in the anomaly, and in that, when you're interacting with it, you see whatever you want. It's a bit magical, isn't it?
It was just a bit convenient that then you could appear anywhere in time or space when you wanted to. But yeah, and no, it worked for the story. But anyway, go on. Sorry.
So what I liked about also First Contact, I like the redesigned uniforms as well. I thought those grey uniforms just gave it a sort of edgy change to this whole Next Generation era.
More deep, more like a moving away from the jumpsuit, and it felt more.
Well, actually, apparently, what they say in canon is that they went for the grey uniforms because at that point the Dominion War was starting up in the Federation, and it was a time of war. And I think that the Federation decided to be a bit more less a time of exploration and peace, but more of war and defense and military. And I think that's why. And of course, then I don't know whether that's true or not, but that's what I heard.
I think a couple of the actors were getting a little flabbier in a few places, so they realised we need heavier uniforms here. Oh my god!
Yeah, I'd really thought about that. Yeah, I suppose you're right. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, the first scene of First Contact.
What, the zoom out from the eye?
Well, I mean, yeah, that was phenomenal. You start hearing the voices. I'm going to ignore the fact that they were at the neutral zone and then they got to Earth within like 4 minutes. I'm going to ignore that problem. Warp varies. I mean, how fast you can travel.
That's useless. That varies. Yeah,
drastically. But anyway, they get to Earth. That battle sequence with the Borg is one of the best in all the Star Trek. That battle sequence was phenomenally good. I absolutely loved it. I wish it had been a bit longer.
Really. Do you know? There's a guy on YouTube who's recently done the Battle of Wolf 359.
I saw it. Yeah, I've seen that. It's brilliant,
and it is really good. And I'll tell you what, I actually got a digital copy of Best of Both Worlds. My copy, I've mixed in all the footage into the story, and I've got it, and it's really good. It's about another 10-15 minutes, and I've actually chopped it all together and made my own special thing, which obviously I can't share, but it's really, really good.
You are
but I know. But with the First Contact, though, it was a bit short. If we could have like another 5 minutes of just the battle.
Yeah, I mean, but then it was I would like to have been a bit longer. I'd have liked to have seen a little bit more fighting. The Enterprise basically turned a point, just fire on this spot, boom, it went. And I'm thinking they could have done a bit more.
Quick. It was, yeah.
But and we never did really get any more fighting after. But then, they went through the temporal thing, and we saw the Earth as a Borg planet, which was
Borgified or whatever the term is. Yeah,
the whole bit with Zefram Cochrane,
he was great. I liked him.
I think they got the right actor. I think if they'd have got almost anybody else all the way through, I'm going, that'll do.
Oh, what's the actor? I can't
I'll get his name, but he's the guy from Babe. I'll get his name.
Yeah, I can't think of his name. It will come to me in a minute.
Babe movie. I might come up with a load of adult stuff. No, it's fine. James Cromwell.
James Cromwell.
So, he was brilliant, and I honestly think he made it work. I think if anybody else had done that, they pushed up to silly. I felt, and
he got the right balance though.
They'd have overdone it.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, they just got the balance right, and I thought his partner, the girl who's
Alfre Woodard, I think her name was. I think that's
well, she was phenomenal as well.
Lily Sloan.
Lily, thank you. Yeah, she was so bad. Oh, because I'm looking at the cast of Babe. Dumb So her character again, because she was such a good actress, and her bouncing off Picard, because obviously what was going on the planet for me was a little bit on the ridiculous side. It was
okay, yeah.
Oh no, but in it could have gone that way really easily. Mm-hmm. But with the drama going on the Enterprise, it balanced it out so beautifully. Mm-hmm. With all the TNG crew on the floor, on the surface. Mm-hmm. All sort of like being a bit starstruck by Zefram. They was in danger of it getting into that bit silly area.
Yeah, but it managed to get.
But it balanced it. I just thought it balanced it beautifully. And now I've lost you. Anyway, so I don't know who you guys are listening to, whether it's me or whether it's Mike. I'd love to know what you guys think about. What is your favourite out of the?
Saying playing up again.
You're back. We can hear you anyway. Jonathan Frakes did direct First Contact. Sarah's just pointed out as well, which is very true. And he then went on to direct the one of the worst movies ever made. FAB, Father. What is it? International Rescue. Thunderbirds. He did the Thunderbirds movie, and that was painful. Should have left Frakes. Have Nemesis 2. Yeah, probably a good idea. But what is the best out of the original Star Trek movies, the Kirk movies, and then the Picard movies? So, I mean, for me, I honestly think Undiscovered Country for the original, First Contact for the new Trek films. And we've lost Mike, but he'll be back in a minute. I think that's a no-brainer. And I actually think the worst film for me is the motion picture from the first Trek movies. I just don't like it. Even though 5 is ridiculous, but I love the whole thing with the he's back. I actually love 5. Yeah. Rocco, Final Frontier is his favorite. I think that's Insurrection is awful. So before we talk about I want to talk about Star Trek 5 in a bit more detail, right? So I've left it purposefully.
Okay.
The JJ Abrams Star Treks.
Okay.
What's your first instinct? What's your instinct? What when I say JJ Abrams Star Treks, what's the word that jumps into your brain?
Mainstream, not official Trek. Reinterpretation of Trek, not fully understanding Trek.
Yeah, I think. Well, lens flares is the word that jumps into my brain. Lens flares freaking everywhere. Most directors try very hard to avoid lens flares because it's considered quite bad, directing. Not JJ Abrams. JJ Abrams is like, more lens flares. Let's throw a few more in. And they're fucking annoying. I really like the JJ Abrams movies as long as I don't think of them as Star Trek.
Yeah, I can go along with that.
I only think of them as a sci-fi movie.
Yeah,
I don't mind.
When I first watched the beginning of the first JJ Abrams movie, it really started off with a lot of action, with the Kelvin, with the birth of Kirk and everything. And I was really quite impressed when I watched the movie the first time round. But it's just, from my perspective, that in hindsight, it really was its own thing. It really was a reboot, whereas all the other previous Star Treks were a continuation. They're all part of the same universe. This was a reboot. The excuse was that it was a different timeline, which is fair enough, but it's got a lot of problems. And as one of your followers is saying, that Cumberbatch as Khan was pretty appalling. I agree with that.
How bad a director do you have to be, or a producer, or whoever, to get Benedict Cumberbatch, who is one of the finest actors of our generation? He's a brilliant actor.
It's not a Khan, though. It's not a Khan.
Well, in a fantastic character of Khan, and make him wooden and just awful. When he does the "I am Khan" bit, you're just like going, "We know, we guessed a while ago." But the bits that so if I think about the JJ Abrams movies as Star Trek, I do get angry. So first of all, I think, hey, Matt Dean is in the house. Whoop! You got to start watching these Star Trek movies, mate, when you get through all the series. They seem to have made the Enterprise water-powered.
A brewery.
Well, it isn't a brewery. The whole bit, it seemed to be to have the joke where Scotty beams into the water pipe, but they completely changed the warp core. They seem to make it water, like hydroelectric. They seem to make that's what they seem to be implying.
Yes, yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
The way they jettison the warp cores at the end, but then shoot off at warp.
Well, it's like, I suppose it was impulse, wasn't it?
No, they warped away. I think they were pushed by the energy wave. Actually.
Oh no, it was a shockwave. It pushed it back.
They were pushed by the shockwave, I think.
That's what it was. Yeah, you're right.
They basically the Enterprise actually all these flappy bits on the nacelles and stuff for no reason. They basically just thought, let's just fuck about with the Enterprise. They made the Enterprise massive.
Much bigger than the original. Yes, it was. Bigger than the D, actually. It was the same size as sort of D size.
Bigger than D, bigger than the E.
Yeah, it was.
It's just ridiculously big. And JJ Abrams did that because it'll look better on IMAX. I don't give a shit if it looks better on IMAX.
But he wasn't a Star Trek fan. He said he wasn't actually. He never liked Star Trek. No. He was more of a Star Wars fan. He didn't do too well with that either, but there we go.
No, that went badly.
That's a different story. But while we cut out, though, what did you think about the last two movies of Insurrection and Nemesis?
Oh, yeah. So, we'll come back to Abrams. So, Nemesis, I don't mind Nemesis.
I don't mind it either. No.
I thought it was good space battle.
Love the space battle.
I like the way they did that. I never like it when the Enterprise gets its ass handed to it, but at least they did that in a better way than they have done in other films. I think they always make the ships weaker. They're so much weaker than everyone else. But yeah, it's good. Insurrection is terrible.
Insurrection's the weakest Next Generation movie by far for me, and it just didn't work at all. I just thought
when
it was
I
a waste
think
of time.
about the awful, it's. I mean, I say Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. I like it more than Motion Picture. It's a far worse movie. It's an awful movie. But I like bits of it. I like the humor in bits of it. I like the bit with the. I mean, McCoy is fantastic in it. You know, when they're doing the flashback bit. His
Oh
acting,
yes, and his dad dies and stuff. Yeah,
give the man an Oscar. He was phenomenal. There are bits in that film I really enjoy, and I don't like the motion picture because I find it boring. But it's a far better movie.
It feels more of a. It feels a sort of bigger scale, doesn't it? Again, it's the pacing. Cut off half an hour of it, and I don't. It could. I don't know. I think they could. I mean, have you seen the director's the redone motion picture version?
I'm going to watch the director's cut.
Okay.
It's on Paramount.
It's. I think it's slightly better. I don't think it's a massive change, but it's well worth checking out just to get a perspective on that movie.
But for me, Final Frontier and Insurrection are by far. They're the awful. I say the good, the bad, and the awful. They're the awful. You know, I almost think of like Star Trek: The Final Frontier as a B movie. It's not a good film.
Oh yeah, it's just nothing there. It just hasn't got the what's required to be a good movie. It's just lacking.
And Insurrection is just it's borderline stupid. And then I'm sick of running from these bastards. Just fuck off. Just,
yeah. That was Riker on the bridge, wasn't it? When he said that.
Yeah, he pulls out a joystick like an Atari with a little red button on top, just like an Atari, and then flies through 3-dimensional space. It's just no. That's not how anything works. It's just that's what I mean. It was just weak. It was weak. But
it was so strange because Jonathan Frakes directed both that movie and the previous one, First Contact, and they were such different movies. So I think really it was down to just bad writing. It shouldn't really have gone past the actual, sort of like early sort of writing ideas.
Yeah. The JJ Abrams movies, though, just to run back to those.
Yeah, sure.
Do you know the one thing I thought they did get some things right. I thought they got the casting bang on.
Yeah,
I thought the casting was phenomenal. Other than Scotty.
Oh, Simon Pegg. You're not a fan?
Pegg is not Scotty.
No.
It's. I know why they did it because he was desperate to appear in it, and he actually wrote parts of the second one. I think he wrote
the third one. I think he wrote the third one. Beyond.
I mean, and I know he's desperate to do it. And I love him as an actor, whatever. I think he's fantastic. But he is not. He's not Scotty. No. And it's a shame. That was the only bit of casting I thought Zachary Quinto as Spock was genius. I mean, it's just that was absolutely spot on.
In I think it was Insurrection and Beyond. James Doohan's son, Chris Doohan, appeared in the movies, and he was actually on the transporter. He was one of the technicians.
Oh, nice.
And of course, I've seen James Doohan. He played Scotty in the fan series Star Trek Continues. So in some ways, it might have been a good idea to have someone who even looks like the original Scotty, perhaps playing the character rather than Simon Pegg. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, it's fine. I like him I love him as an actor. But
I like him a lot.
The things that I really hate about the JJ Abrams, I think they're action. I think they're fun. I think they're interesting. I hate the interplanetary transporter.
Yep.
Cheating, and it's crap. They used a fucking black hole as a time machine. But they didn't do it correctly because you can use a black hole as a time machine in theory.
And time slows down, as in Stargate and all that sort of stuff.
You can get slow to close to the black hole thing, but they travel through it like it's a hole in space.
And it came out the other end.
Out to the fucking hole, and I'm just like, no, that's no.
Is it red matter? Red matter they used, isn't it?
Red matter.
Yeah.
When a star explodes, unless it's actually the Romulan star. How big a supernova was that? And supernova, the shockwave moves at the speed of light.
Okay.
Right. So if it's the star, and we know it wasn't Romulus, it wasn't the Romulan star. They say it in the movie. It's not the Romulan star. It was another star, apparently.
Oh, was it? Oh, I thought it was Romulus' star. Okay.
Our nearest star is 5 years away. Right. Well, we know that it wasn't Romulus' star because they had notice. And that actually says that in Picard season 1 as well, that we
I
tried
didn't know
to
that.
save them.
Okay.
If it was the Romulus' star, it would have been instant. It would have supernovaed, would have wiped out the solar system immediately. We wouldn't have had we would have had zero notice. We supposedly had notice of the supernovae. So that in that case, it must have been another star. So in that case, they'd have had at least 5 years notice.
Okay.
5 light years away. Stars aren't much closer than that. There are supernova that can wipe out vast areas, but it takes a very long time.
Because the speed of light is the limitation of speed. You can't go any faster than that.
You can't. The shockwave can't travel faster than that.
Yeah, so it should take a long time.
It's just the basic. When science fiction, yes, it should be fiction. Yes, it should be a story. Yes, you should be able to release a bit. Like the whales thing. I can let that go. I'm just like, yeah, because it's fiction. It's science fiction. The whole thing with the with telepathy and stuff, I'm like, I can let that go. There's no reason why that couldn't be. It's a bit of a stretch scientifically, but
but it's all right.
The stuff they do in JJ Abrams Star Trek, though, I'm just like, no, you've took the science bit and just screwed it up and gone. I seem to vaguely remember when I was at school something about traveling through black holes. Should we do that?
Yeah, that's it. That's the idea. Done.
It's just
But in classic Trek, they did try. I think his name is Andre Bohr or something. He was like a scientific advisor, and they would actually try to use ideas fitting in with real science hypothesis.
It's like the Dyson sphere and stuff like that, though.
That's very fascinating. Imagine a sort of structure around a planet, around a star. Then you could absorb all the energy of that star, and it would be almost unlimited. Fascinating. And that was used in Relics in Next Generation.
Yeah, a brilliant episode with James Doohan.
Exactly.
One of the best episodes of TNG.
Loved that episode. Yeah, it was brilliant.
But I think in a lot of Star Trek, particularly in Deep Space Nine and Voyager, I think they got better as time went on. They took it a little bit more seriously. I think in the first couple of series, not so much. Sometimes they went a bit. It was a bit old school Star Trek in the first couple of seasons, but they always made an effort to have at least a nugget of scientific either theory or something at the core of the story that they then built the fiction around.
Yeah.
JJ Abrams just sort of went, we just need to write that bit. And the Enterprise is warp powered, right? Because we found this cool set that looks like a brewery. Yeah, okay, let's do that. And then the warp core is completely different in the second movie and completely different in the third movie, which is fine, though, because the Enterprise is completely different in all 3 films as well. It's a different Enterprise.
It got refit, didn't it? It got refit at the end of the second one, didn't it?
It did, but they actually redesigned the Enterprise. In the second one, the third one, they wanted the neck to be thinner and longer because when the Edris Elba's ships went through the neck,
it breaks off.
So in the second one, though, they thought it looked a bit silly, so they actually made it a bit thicker and stumpier, and they took all the flappy bits off the engines.
I noticed that. I've not noticed that. Okay.
If you actually look at all 3 Enterprises, they're quite different.
Really? Okay.
And I'm just like, why?
Well, they should redesign the ship for the purpose of a story. They should get the story to fit. That's a bit daft. I know there's a new Enterprise A.
Yeah, once you've got a design of the Enterprise, you should stick.
You can't change it. I mean, they never did it. The other series, it was always the Enterprise D was the D, and the Voyager and the Defiant and everything else. So
in the movies, we had the refit, and then it stayed the same.
Yes, it did. It did
because it was a great design, and they did it. So.
Not good.
Surely, I'm sorry, mate. Energy can't travel faster than the speed of light. It just can't. Nothing can travel faster than the speed of light.
Theory of relativity.
That's a fundamental law of
science.
Even if it did travel at 10 times the speed of light, which I'm sorry, Brent, it can't, mate. But even if it did, you'd still be talking about a year for it to travel from a star to the next. To the nearest solar system, you'd still be talking about a long period of time. The whole point I'm trying to make is the whole supernova bit in the first movie makes no sense from like a geography point of view. Is that the right word? cosmological point of view. I don't know.
Because when that sun exploded, it wasn't just one solar system. I think, if I remember, I think it was a huge part of space in the Romulan area. Is that right? It wasn't just
it must have been a star near Romulus, obviously, but then they were going to use the red matter to collapse the shockwave, and that was the point. They were going to use the red matter to prevent a thing, but they didn't do it in time to protect Romulus in the movie. I mean, again, that makes no sense either. But it's just like a stretch. I'm talk about stretching everything. In the third movie, Idris Elba's character doesn't make a lot of sense. He's phenomenally powerful, considering he's just been locked on that planet. And he's built an incredibly powerful fleet of warships. I also didn't like the space base. I hated that space base.
Yorktown. Yorktown, it's called.
Yeah, Yorktown was just stupid. I hate that.
Well, it didn't fit in with. I mean, that time. I mean, you had obviously star bases in the original series and everything else, and even Next Generation. Although it's an alternate timeline, that thing was like, that was a bit sort of all over the top, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, those domes, all the trees and everything. I did like the bit where the Enterprise sort of goes into dock and it was going under the water.
Underneath the thing? Yeah.
It made no sense that they would do that because that's a very big tunnel to build for no reason.
For one ship just to go in.
But it'll look cool.
Yeah, it's a great visual thing. Yeah. I mean, that's the problem with the JJs. I mean, sometimes they just do stuff just to make it look cool, even if it doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah. And it's maddening because it's not Trek. And that's what's really mad. I mean, don't get me wrong, Star Trek does stuff to look cool. The engine, and the Enterprise D. I mean, there's no reason why that light's going up and down and stuff. I don't think, but it looked cool. There's stuff like that because obviously it's still a TV show. It's still got to look cool. But I think they just take it to an extreme with this go like, okay, this doesn't make sense that the Enterprise would do this, but screw it, let's do it anyway.
Yeah, and it is a shame.
And Idris Elba's the whole storyline with Idris Elba just didn't make sense.
Well, because he's like an alien, and then he sort of starts.
It was an old thing. Is that actually said in the movie that it's that he actually acquired the ships from another civilization?
I don't remember that. Well, maybe he did. I can't remember the actual. I'm surprised if he did. I would have probably remembered that myself, but maybe he did. I don't know. There's
a device, isn't there, that he uses, and that's why how he survives, and that's why he changes so much.
Yeah,
the technology. So is that's it? Then there's an ancient civilization, and he just uses their technology. Then, okay, that makes a little bit more sense. I don't think it's explained very well in the movie, but well, this is the whole point of what we're doing. We're going to watch these films again, and we're going to rate them. Because it's been a long time since I watched it. I didn't hate that film at all. I
quite liked it
when they hit the music and they go. I thought visually very cool.
Yeah.
On the vessel.
It had a nice sort of link to the NX-01 sort of Enterprise era as well, which I thought was a nice sort of. I like that bit of continuity.
I think it's a slightly different class vessel. Apparently, I think.
I mean, it was the Franklin. Was it Franklin?
Franklin.
But you could tell it was from that era from the NX, which actually was before. It was before the split into the Kelvin timeline in the first J. So I like that because it splits off, and I just, as a geek, I like that kind of thing. So yeah, that's all right.
Well, I mean, the second movie, I quite like the second movie, other than Benedict Cumberbatch isn't Khan.
I didn't like that Kirk died, and they did a reversal of the scene in the engineering where in Wrath of Khan it was Spock was dying, and then I didn't like that. I just thought that was a bit daft. I didn't think that was
cheesy.
Yeah.
They didn't need to do that. And then the whole thing with his blood, like, no, Kirk was dead. He wasn't poorly. He died. Dead.
And don't forget, the brain needs oxygen. After 4 minutes, if you stop breathing, you're going to die. That's it. You'll get brain damage. So, but no.
Khan has magic blood. Piss. No, he doesn't have magic blood. So then that was stupid as well. Again, that was
I like
JJ.
the Vengeance though, and Section 31 was also sort of involved with it, which I thought was quite a nice tie-in with.
I loved it. I loved RoboCop as the Admiral.
Oh, what's his name? Oh,
I love the Vengeance. I do know
Vengeance
his name.
was really cool. Yeah, I know.
I do know his name. Paul Weller. No, that's
Paul Weller. No, not Paul Weller.
Paul.
Oh God. Oh, I'm not really good with these things. Come on, somebody tell us, please.
I'm going to go with Paul Weller until somebody corrects me because it's bloody close to that.
Oh shoot! I'm not going to look it up.
No, because somebody will get into the comments and tell us in a second because our community is fantastic.
That actor also appeared on Enterprise as well.
It's Peter Weller.
Peter Weller. Sorry, thank you.
I was very damn close. Come on, I was very damn close.
More closer than I was.
Yeah, it's hard to just go live doing these videos and actually think as well at the same time. Pretty impressive. I amaze myself sometimes. Yeah, but so JJ Abrams, good films, fun movies, not Star Trek.
I agree.
Basically,
it's a shame. It's a shame.
So I think we can ignore them. So can I not watch them when we do this reviewing all the movies that we're going to do? Can we ignore them?
I don't mind. We can. I mean, I know them well enough to probably I can review it without having to rewatch it. I would say.
No, you got to do it. We got to do it. If we're going to do it, we'll do it properly.
All right.
So we're coming up to the end of the video.
Okay.
So we've got a couple of minutes left.
Okay.
We're going to rate these movies, and I want you guys in the community to help us with this, right? So I think first of all, we'll rate everything out of 5 points. Just to keep it simple.
Out of 5, yeah, okay.
So I think, first of all, I'm throwing in the Kirk rating. And the Kirk rating is basically action or fun? Action. Should we do action? Because he shoots first, after later. So we're going to be rating the action in the movies as the Kirk rating. Right? Guys, tell me in the comments. Yeah, happy with that? Yes, no? Does the story make sense? Is it logical? The Spock rating?
Okay. And okay. Well, you're breaking up at the minute, so give me a second. It's slowing down, but yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, so are we just the whole film? So are we going to do like the first film of Kirk, and then we'll do? How do you want to do it?
We'll do them in order. So we'll start with the motion picture.
All right.
We'll burn through. We are rating them compared to each other, right? So not compared to like other. We're not comparing them to, I don't know, Heat or The Shawshank Redemption. We're rating them compared to each other. All right.
Okay. All right.
So we've got the Kirk rating, action. The Spock rating is the story, logical.
Okay.
I think. How about the Uhura rating for the writing?
Yeah. Okay.
She's the communication lady.
Okay.
How good the writing is.
So action, logical writing. Okay.
Yeah. What's next? What else is there you got to rate in a movie? We've got to do an overall. Oh, sorry. Overall, I think it should be the Roddenberry rating. What do you think?
Overall, let's do. Yeah, that's 4. Okay, the overall rating. That sounds good. That makes sense. Okay.
The Roddenberry rating.
What about just actual enjoyment? Just like
enjoy it.
Good feel to it. Just an enjoyment factor.
What rating. Character is full of life, full of joy?
A Barclay enjoyment rating, or no? He's not a movie character, is he? I don't know. What should do as a comedy character?
Bones was pretty sort of like full of life, sort of thing, wasn't he?
Yeah. All right. Let's go with Bones. Yeah, go with Bones.
Bones rating for fun.
Okay.
Well, we're keeping all original characters here.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, we should. Yeah, maybe we should carry on with Steve.
I'm not doing that on purpose, but it seems to be.
Well, no, but we're kind of we're getting towards getting stuck in that sort of like. Well, we don't have to, but we can. See how you feel about it. Really.
We could even do then just finally a Scotty rating as like how clever.
What would that be?
Technical cleverness.
Technicalities. Yeah, technical. All right. Okay. Yeah. All right.
The Scotty rating.
All right.
Guys, in the comments, are we happy with these? I think I The only rating I care about is do I like it or hate it. But yeah, but there are levels of like or hate. So we're going to go with levels. So the Scotty rating for like technical. So I mean that's a little bit different from the logic. So does the story make sense? But then we're going to do sort of like, you know, the sciencey bits. So the JJ Abrams on the Scotty rating are going to do bad. But the stories might be more logical. If you just take out the science. Anyway, so I think we have those 5 ratings.
Okay.
We then take the points from each one, divide it by 5, and that gives us our Roddenberry rating.
And we can work it out. Okay.
And then we get we get
score
for each movie, and we will at the end of this be able to tell you which is the best and which is the worst of all the Star Trek
movie.
films,
yes,
based on the Roddenberry rating. God damn it!
Mathematically, yeah.
Yeah, that's scienced. God damn it. The Chekhov rating. How many times is the word whistles of whistles mentioned? It should maybe be Chekhov for the comedy rating because he is funny.
Yeah.
Right. Mike, thank you so much, sir. For our first joint celebration of Star Trek. We will be back in the next couple of weeks to do the first movie.
Yeah.
We can
just do it whenever we can. Yeah, we'll go through it. I know that 1 and 2 ratings for the first movie, I can already see what they're going to be, but we'll when we get there, we'll obviously. But that should be interesting. So I think we're planning on doing it every 2 weeks. Is it you want to do? Is that what you're planning on doing?
A couple of weeks, like you said, when we can. But yeah, we'll try and do it regular.
Yeah, I'll try and do it a regular time slot if we can. That'd be great.
So fantastic. We've had well over 30 people watching the whole video on my end. I don't know about your end, but that's done. I'm really pleased about that, guys. Thank you so much. Come and join us again in a couple of weeks, and that's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time.
See you later, mate. Have a good night, guys.
Cheers.